Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Racha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 33rd chapter. There shall no evil happen unto him that feareth the Lord, but in temptation, even again, he will deliver him. See, so those that fear the Lord will deliver them, even out of all kinds of temptation. A wise man hateth not the law. So this real quick. Yeah. But he that is an hypocrite or ungodly therein is as a ship in a storm. See, a wise man doesn't hate the law or instructions of the Lord. But he that is an hypocrite or ungodly, they're like a ship that's in the middle of a storm, tossed to and fro, about to be cooked. A man of understanding trusteth in the law, and the law is faithful unto him as what? As an oracle. Okay, the GNTD says, if you are wise, you will believe in the law, you will find it as reliable as the sacred lots. Prepare what to say, and so thou shalt be heard, and bind up instruction, and then make answer. So in a nutshell, think before you speak. Don't just open your mouth wide and just start saying whatever comes to mind. Think, prepare what you're going to say, and then say it. It's going to make people want to listen to you more. And bind up instruction, and then make an answer. The heart of the foolish is like a cartwheel, and his thoughts are like a rolling axle tree, right? Meaning it's like a cartwheel that just keeps on going and spinning and spinning and spinning. And it's like a wheel just, if you have like a chariot like this, see, loose chariot wheel. Yeah, you see these little things right here? Now imagine, right? Imagine, you've probably seen it in maybe some cartoon or something somewhere where it's going, and then something happens and the wheel just falls off. And that wheel just like goes and goes and goes and goes. And it's just like it going every which way without stopping. It jumps on buildings, it goes in the street, it goes everywhere. So that's like a fool's mind. It's like a cartwheel. They just talk and talk. Their mind just runs and runs and runs. They don't know when to be quiet. They don't know what they're saying. They're just words are coming out of their mouth. And they can't put a stop to it. A stallion horse is as a mocking friend. He neigheth under every one that sitteth upon him. Right? Reading that in the GNTD. A sarcastic friend is like a wild horse that neighs no matter who tries to ride him. So whoever, regardless of who it is, that is around him, right, that is either trying to befriend him or around him, he's always, using that sarcastic nature. Okay, and you got to be careful of that too. It's not everyone that you got to behave that way too. What did the Apostle Paul say? Being all things to all men. You got to know, who is what, who can tolerate what, and how to be around certain people actually. Why doth one day excel another, when as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun? So what makes one day better than another? When every day has the same source of the light that comes upon it, which is the sun. Right? It says, why are some days holier than others, even though the same sun rises on every day of the year? By the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. And that's the Lord distinguishing the days, right, by his knowledge. Certain days are holy days, certain days are for feast days, certain days are solemn assemblies. Some of them he hath made high days and hallowed them, and some of them he hath made ordinary days, right? For example, the Passover and maybe just a regular another day, the feast of unleavened bread versus a random Tuesday. All men are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth. In much knowledge the Lord hath divided them, right? Separated his creation, and made their ways diverse. So that's why, like, when you look at the different people on the earth, yeah, we're all so-called, like they use a term to try and negate the differences of creation, but humans, right? We're all humans, but we're different. The way we eat, the way we act, the things we do for fun, It's different. Our ways are diverse. Some of them hath he blessed and exalted, and some of them he sanctified. And those he blessed and exalted and sanctified are his people, the sons of God, later to be known as the Israelites, and set near himself. Right? Proof of that. Let's go to Deuteronomy 4:7. Find out who those people are. And this is what Moses told to Israel. Right? Deuteronomy 4:4. But ye that did cleave unto the Lord Yahweh your God are alive, every one of you this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord Yahweh my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it, which is the land of Canaan. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. What nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord Yahweh our God is in all things that we call upon him for? So when you go to Ecclesiasticus 33 and 12, it says some he set near himself. So who are those? The Israelites. But some of them hath he cursed and brought low. And so who are the cursed of the Lord? Let's go to the book of Isaiah 34. This is Isaiah chapter 34. Let's see, verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is referring to Esau or Edom, or the Edomites, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So they are the people of the Lord's curse. He said he would have war with Amalek from generation to generation. See, so some he hath cursed and brought low, and turned out of their places, as the clay is in the potter's hand, to fashion it as at his pleasure. So the potter can decide how he wants to fashion the clay into whatever vessel he wants, right? So man is in the hand of him that made him, which is the Lord, to render to him as liketh him best. So there's some the Lord wants to be rulers of the earth, his chosen people. If that's what pleases him, that's it. And there's some he has made vessels of wrath fitted for destruction, dealing with the Edomites. Then that's so be it. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. Now, when you look at this on a nationalistic level, the godly and the good is Israel, the evil is Esau. But when you look at it on a granular level, the godly really comes down to the elect, the chosen of the Lord, and everybody else is likened on to being a sinner, even including the wicked of our people. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another, right? Everything is in pairs, male, female, good, bad, fat, skinny, tall, short, right? Everything has its complement. I awaked up last of all, as one that gathereth after the grape gatherers. By the blessing of the Lord I profited. One that gathereth after the grape gatherers is like you're last. When there's the gathering, right, during the harvest, you have the main time when everybody's gathering, and you come in after them when everybody has already gathered. What's in there, the little you can find, you pick up. That's like being last, right? That's why he said, I waked up last of all, as one that gathereth after the grape gatherers. By the blessing of the Lord I profited, and I tread my winepress like the gatherer of grapes. See, so he's saying, like, through the blessing of the Lord, I was still able to gain, some, and I was still able to tread, the grapes that I gathered in the winepress, to get get my wine. So like us, for example, even though the Lord has woken us up in these last days, he still blessed us to where we're still profiting, right? We're still prospering and benefiting. And he's going to increase that, right? We're going to have an abundance. Consider that I labored not for myself only, but for all them that seek learning. Hear me, O ye great men of the people, and hearken with your ears, ye rulers of the congregation. Give not unto thy son and thy wife, thy brother and thy friend power over thee while thou livest. So don't give your son, your wife, your those that are around you, even your loved ones, power over you. Don't give them the means by which, you are now at their mercy. It says, and give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again. See? So if you give in wisdom, right? Give what you can afford to give. Don't go and give everything away, and now you got to go back and ask for it again. As long as thou livest and hast breath in thee, give not thyself over to any, right? Don't do anything that's going to give somebody power over you and make you basically at their mercy. For it is better that better it is that thy children should seek to thee than that thou shouldest stand to their courtesy. What that means is it's better that your children depend on you than for it to be vice versa. Right? For you, it's better that you provide for them. In all thy works, keep to thyself the preeminence. Leave not a stain in thine honor. Right? That's through folly, through lack of wisdom, through a bad decision. You lose everything, and now you have to be begging or at the mercy of everybody else around you. You don't want that. Let's look at that word preeminence. The fact of surpassing all others, superiority. So whatever dominion or, what gives you that preeminence, you hold on to that. It's yours. At the time when thou shalt end thy days and finish thy life, distribute thine inheritance. That's your will, right? When you're about to die, then you give away, you part your inheritance amongst your loved ones. Fodder, a wand, and burdens are for the ass, and bread, correction, and work for your servant. In the GNTD, it says, a donkey should be given its fodder and its burden, and it should be beaten. That's to, drive it in the right way. A slave should be given food and work, and should be disciplined. If thou set thy servant to labor, thou shalt find rest. But if thou let him go idle, he shall seek liberty. Yeah, if you got a servant and he's not working, he's gonna want to seek. He's gonna find means to plot his escape, right? To seek liberty. A yoke and collar do bow the neck. So are tortures and torments for an evil servant. So it says you can use a harness and a yoke to tame an animal, and a slave can be tortured in the stocks. This is for correction, for discipline. Send him to labor, that he be not idle. So give him work to do. For idleness teacheth much evil. Because when they're just there and they don't have anything to do, that's when the mind starts to devise. That's like what Pharaoh was saying, concerning Moses. See, from his perspective, he's like, oh, okay, so you must not have enough work to do for you to be coming here, talking about let my people go. In his sight, it was like we were being idle, now coming up with evil thoughts to say, okay, now we want to be free. Set him to work as is fit for him, and if he be not obedient, put on more heavy fetters. He says work is what he needs, and if he won't obey you, put him in chains. But be not excessive toward any, and without discretion do nothing. Right? Don't be too severe with anyone, and never be unfair. Right? Always use discretion. You want to avoid a case where, you immediately you go and outburst against somebody and you find out you're wrong. I mean, that's not going to be a good look, right? If thou have a servant, let him be unto thee as thyself, because thou hast bought him with a price. So take good care of him. Treat him as you would want to be treated, because, you spent money on him. If thou have a servant, entreat him as a brother, for thou hast need of him, as of thine own soul. See, because you have a servant and you need that servant to serve you, so treat him well. If thou entreat him evil and he run from thee, which way wilt thou go to seek him? You'll never find him. Okay, because he's going so far away to escape from you because of how evil you treated him. And that brings us to the end of the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 33rd chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.